Welcome to a new fun show we're doing here at the Young Turks at the bar. And when we were doing our Indiegogo fundraising, we did one kind of by accident at the bar, and it turned out that everybody loved it, and we thought we'd bring it back. And it turns out we have a bar, so why not use it? So today, Michael Carpenter is here. He's with redcollection.com. That's 2 Ds in red. And he's going to be our sommelier, and I feel good about that. Of course, Dave Rubin is here, and Lizette Padilla, and we're going to discuss a bunch of fun things, but first we're going to start with a little bit of wine tasting.
Picked out a fantastic Cabernet. I figured this is the first one we should start out with the King. Cabernet is king. This is what most people go to. This is a very small producer, 288 cases produced up in the Dry Creek Valleys, up in the northern section of Sonoma Valley, called Collier Falls. There is a waterfall on property. This is very beautiful. Barry and Susan Collier founded this thing in the mid-90s. They just make great wine on a small 20-acre vineyard, and it's something that you don't find everywhere around the country. You don't find it in many stores in California for that matter, because they make so little. So I thought it would be something fun to bring, and it's a great value, and I'll get into that in a little bit.
All right, that sounds good. We're going to ask a bunch of questions, but let's start drinking immediately. Okay.
How long usually are you allowed to talk before people demand the pour?
There is no rule. No
Depends
rule.
on how drunk they are.
Okay, there's a new rule here. We start drinking immediately. Okay, so why is Cab king? I've heard that before. Well, what does that mean? Why is it king?
Well, it's the most noble of the grapes. It's the one that makes the great Bordeaux wines, first of all. And second, there's more Cabernet sold of any red grape. Chardonnay is the king for white, queen, I guess, maybe. And also, I think, the #1 grape, period, Chardonnay, in America. That doesn't mean quality levels like this, but this is the king. There are other ones that I love just as much, and you should be open to all sorts of grapes. And matter of fact, this is probably like my 5th in line grape that I drink regularly. Steak is fantastic with it, but otherwise there's so many other fun grapes to go with it.
Okay, so I continue to have 17 questions, but if you notice, we're all doing this,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
All right,
Just
so-
because we've seen it on TV. Is that real? Are we supposed to do that?
Absolutely, put your glass down.
Okay.
This is how you don't get wine stains on you.
Okay.
You leave it down, put your fingers on like this,
Okay.
and just do circles. Small circles.
Circle.
Circle. Put your
Okay.
fingers
There we
down.
go.
Push down, and just do circle. Do a circle. There you go. When you get really good, you can go a little faster. But imagine you're cooking a stew at home. Pot is covered. Been a couple hours. You pull the pot off. You can smell something. Give it a stir. Aromas come out, right? Same with wine. If you let this sit for about 2 minutes and don't touch it, stick your nose down deep inside, you won't smell that much. You give it a swirl, stick your nose back in there, pow.
Should we stick our nose in it now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Get it deep in there, a little deeper. It's a big difference, the aroma's here
Yeah.
and getting it inside. And
You can get
really
drunk just by sniffing wine.
Jake, you're thinking of glue. I think you're thinking of
I
glue.
see, I knew I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue.
I don't think you can get inebriated from this, no. But the smell does this. The smell is what makes wine important. If you plug your nose and taste this, you're not going to taste anything. Kind of that onion and an apple thing. You're not going to taste the difference. You could feel the difference, I guess, but you wouldn't taste it if you plugged your nose, right? So your sense of smell controls almost all of your sense of taste. Without it, you don't have it. So the nose is so important on a wine.
Can we get to the sense of taste now?
Please do.
Okay, all right, good.
Oh, you haven't?
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, yes, absolutely, yes.
To the Young Turks bar.
There
That's
it
right.
is. There it is.
Okay.
That
I'm
is-
supposed to.
that is
That's
lovely.
nice. Let me try my
Yeah.
best. I'm not going to be able to deliver on this, but there's a rich oak taste to it. A little bit of aroma of.
Raspberries.
I couldn't finish it. All right. So what does this actually have?
It's 100% Cabernet. You're going to get a lot of blackberry. You're going to get a little bit of oak. It does sit in oak barrels. You're going to get a lot
that's
of.
why they always say oak, because it sits in an oak barrel.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until this very moment.
Yeah. I mean, there are wines, mostly whites, that'll sit in stainless steel barrels only. You don't want to get the oak. The oak is what gives it a little butteriness in a white wine, a little vanilla in a white wine especially. And if you over oak it, which a lot of people don't like, and a lot of people do like, so you kind of need to know your audience, the very rich, fat, buttery butter juice wines that people make comments about, some people really enjoy that, and that's fine. They're rich, beautiful, go with lobster and butter and things like that. And that comes from the oak.
I love them.
But this, you know, I don't recall if this was half new oak and half neutral oak, meaning they'll use barrels that have been used for a year or two. And now when you put the wine in there, the wood has a little aeration inside and allows it to mature, but it doesn't give the oak flavor. Then they blend them all together and you have subtle oak. So that's what we're looking for. You don't want anything out of balance in a great wine. And this one has a beautiful, beautiful balance to it. This is a $40 retail wine. The notes, the 2010 is a fantastic vintage. The notes by Robert Parker, one of the leading critics of the world, his comment was, to achieve this quality, to drink this quality, you usually have to pay $100 in Napa to drink this quality. So you have it here now for 40. And we're doing something on our website now. If you buy 6, it takes it down to 200 a 6-pack, which is 33 bucks a bottle. So you're drinking $100 neighborhood for 33 bucks. That's a pretty good value in my opinion.
Is it true that restaurants, they're usually paying 3 times what the retail is for the bottle? Is that
There's
like a general
three to
standard?
4. Well, not what they pay for the bottle. They're generally
Yeah.
3 to 4 retail.
Right.
So imagine when you have a wine, if you find a wine on the wine list that's of a pretty good restaurant that's maybe $100, that really is maybe a $25 retail wine.
Which
And
means they got it for
12, 15 bucks, something
Yeah.
like that. Now, if it's really well chosen, you got yourself a winner. But none of us really know, unless you know the wine, until they have it. Hopefully you get stuff by the glass. And if you have ordering by the glass, just ask them for a
Sample.
taste of this and a taste of this. Make sure you like it before you try it, just to be sure. But yeah, 3 to 4 is kind of normal markup of retail.
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you should get drunk at home then.
Well, don't get drunk at all, because then you can't appreciate your food or your date. or anything
So
like
hold
that.
up. Are you, that's super interesting. So as a wine expert, like you don't want to get drunk? That sounds insane to me.
No.
Really?
You can't taste it anymore if you're drunk. I mean,
I
you can
know,
drink
but
a
on the
Pabst beer.
upside, you're drunk.
People should
And
know.
tipsy.
People should know that Jake is a notorious lightweight. I mean, 2 beers and you immediately, it's like, oh my God, I'm drunk. Like,
If we have one
Let's
more
keep
of these.
going.
You'd be-
Let's keep
that would
going. I
be
want
it.
to see this.
Might get raises, we'll get something out of this.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to get inebriated. One, out of safety, and second, you're going to start drinking all this wine, extra calories, extra money. You don't even remember it, you don't even appreciate it. I don't really see the point in
I
that.
appreciated it at that moment.
But the next day, what did you think of that wine that so-and-so brought? He was there? I don't remember.
I have a headache. So the movie Sideways, which is like the Bible of movies for wine people. There's not really. What's the
it's-
other one? What's the other one?
Bottle Shock
Bottle Shock,
is a
right?
big one.
So Sideways, I guess, was the big commercial one.
Yeah.
But there's that scene where he goes crazy. Paul Giamatti's character goes crazy about Merlot. He hates Merlot, won't drink Merlot. I heard that actually like destroyed the Merlot crops in Sonoma. That people didn't buy it for a long time, and it's just coming back now.
It made a difference.
Yeah.
The numbers, the needle moved, let's put it that way, on Merlot, and the needle moved up on Pinot.
Can you tell me how Merlot and Pinot Noir are related? Because people were saying, he talks so poorly about Merlot, but really they're kind of in the same bucket or category. Maybe to an expert, they're absolutely not, but do they have some similarities?
I mean, other than being a red wine,
That's it.
that's really about it. But Merlot is a softer grape, meaning and textural in your mouth. It feels a little softer, and that's where, for probably 2 decades, it gained a lot of steam. Is because when people drank it, it felt smooth, didn't taste smooth. You can't really taste a feeling, but it has a soft tannins in the grape, as opposed to Cabernet. This one is actually very smooth, but this is a fantastic vintage. It's very well made, small production, and they're able to do that. A lot of times, cabs get very tannic, and people, even before they swallow it, they're kind of reacting because they're reacting to the mouthfeel. So Merlot was softer, so that gained a big foothold. Plus, people know how to pronounce Merlot, or they like to say Merlot. And if you don't know how to say Cabernet Sauvignon, you might not want to order it if you don't know that it's not Cabernet. Because I've had,
Interesting.
I had a guy, I heard him order a Merlot Reserve. Little Texas twang. Merlot Reserve, and I thought, okay. I'm not even going to. No,
Yeah, that's-
God,
that's
no,
such a
no,
tough
not in
thing to do.
not in my place, but in a restaurant, I heard him say that, and so imagine he's not going to try Pinot Noir,
Yeah.
or even Cabernet. So, and Pinot's a lighter grape, much lighter, harder to make, fickle, thin-skinned, lighter in body, lighter in style, but it's a very big-time grape, and when done right, it's a magical
It's
wine.
supposed to be quite difficult though to get just right, correct? It seems more delicate.
If you're off a little bit, big difference.
Yeah.
So the great wines of Burgundy are really some of the greatest wines of the world because of that.
What's the difference between the $40 and the $100 wine? Like, what does that mean? It's a $40 wine or a $100 wine?
Well, there comes a point where it's a bit subjective. Now, if you're in the trade, I've been doing this for 17 years, and most of the guys that I drink with and in my wine groups, we all kind of have an idea. When you taste something, absolutely blind, I could pour this, and someone that's pretty knowledgeable would say, well, one, they would probably guess it's Cabernet, but they would guess in the high range, I would say that, 50, 75, 100. Now, does that mean that it's literally worth it intrinsically, or is it because we all know the market and we know that to achieve this, you generally have to spend about $100. So there's a certain level of quality that you kind of need to hit the number for the quality to match it. Not all the time, but if you look across the board and you kind of do a shotgun effect, that's just the way it's going to work.
So you mentioned balanced earlier. So is this kind of what you're talking about when you feel like, okay, this is like not too dry, it's not too buttery? Is that what you're thinking when you taste a wine? Or is balance one of the...
Balance is a massive part of it, if
Okay.
not among the most important parts of it.
So as a novice, maybe that's something that I can look for when I'm
Yeah.
trying to judge wines.
Well, and it's going to be...
And also personal taste, right?
Absolutely. So it's going to be balanced, but it's going to also be balanced for you, because we could really have two very different wines, and you're like, I love this one, and I love this one, and maybe you don't love each other's wines. But if they're both balanced, they just might be a little different. You're like, I like how it has like white pepper in it, it's kind of spicy. And you might go, I don't really care for that. But it's still balanced, and then he might like something that has more like strawberries in it, and black licorice or something like that, anise. And you don't care for that, but it's still balanced. So what you want to make sure is that you have a wine that when you drink it, you don't say, I like it, but there's something a little out of balance, a little disjointed, and we've all had food the same way.
You've got a $100 wine and you got a $2,500 wine, because certainly that exists and far more than that. Is a $2,500 wine, in your opinion, the opinion of experts, really 25 times better?
Not even close. Not even close. And no one would ever say that. However, if I put down, say, this 82 Mouton, and this, well, that's unfair because it has age on it. But the point is, if you could do an apples to apples, maybe the same maturity, both great vintages, and one was 50 to $100, and one today traded at maybe $2,000 or $3,000. There's a reason why that is a legendary wine. And if I put them side by side, I know most likely all of you would probably, blind and not knowing the price, would probably say, I think we like this one better. It's more interesting, there's more to it, there's more everything. How much more do you like it? I don't know, 2 times, 3 times? Give me a price. This one is $75. And you go, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna buy that, but I like it a lot. But this one is amazing. How much is it? And if I said $200, you might say, well, that's like 3 times the price. I don't think I wanna pay it. And if I said, well, I'll tell you what, it's $2,000. Now, does that make it worth it? Not even close. But some of these wines, if you wanna replicate that experience, that's what you have to pay most of the time. And that's all it comes down to, is replicating that experience. So a Ferrari may not really be worth $300,000, but try to replicate it with a $40,000 car. It's not quite gonna be there. It'll get you A to B, but it's missing all the little things that make it what it is. So with people that have the money, you know, that case of Screaming Eagle, that's empty. I sold the wine bottles, but a guy wanted it. $2,000 a bottle, done. Wow. He had to
that's
have
empty
it.
because I drank it before.
Come on, you lose it.
What we weren't supposed to drink.
I like that TYT sommelier keeps it real.
Totally
He's like,
real.
no, it's not worth 20 or 30 times.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
No, when we all drink in multiples, that's how we think. Is this really 3 times better or 2 times better?
It sounds like
it's
it's
not.
more about like the limited supply, right, and having that unique experience.
That plays
than
a big, big
anything.
role. That
It's not
plays a
about
big role.
the taste as much as it is the experience that you're not going to get elsewhere.
That plays a massive role. If that $2,000 bottle, if they made, well, believe it or not, some of these, they do make 10,000 cases of that stuff. Way more than this. Way more
Maybe
than
I
this.
need to be in that business.
But if you made, you know, 100,000 cases, there's no way you could quite get the price, because not everybody would pay it. But you're right, the demand and the supply play a big role in it, but the quality is huge. It's a huge factor.
I think the lesson here is money out of politics and into wine.
All right, well, we'll wrap on that note. I love that Michael actually literally built this place. I mean, we talked about the Indiegogo in the beginning, and let's build it together. Well, Michael built it, and now we're all drinking together, so that's good. And I like that he came with the bar. So we've got a bar.
He's been hiding under the bar
Right
the
there.
entire time we've been here.
There's a lot of good memories here.
Yeah.
And I do want to give kudos a longtime friend, Craig Hanberg at Harmony Woodworking, actually physically built the
Beautiful.
bar. I designed it with him. And the Amazon rainforest marble here and the Great Wall we have in this whole space was great. And my partner, Todd Zyman, and I launched this place and had a lot of great memories here. And we're so happy that you guys are here and that we made the acquaintance. And
We're happy to make more memories.
Yeah,
with you.
some more memories.
Cheers.
More memories.
Yeah.
to the Young Turks.
Yeah.
Yep. And for some of those memories for yourself, go to the online redcollection.com, REDD collection.com. Michael Carpenter, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Good to see you
Thank
guys.
you.